Good evening. Happy Wednesday to you. I'm hoping I'm live and broadcasting loud and clear. You'll have to tell me, guys, because Mr. G is not in the building. He's gone off to London town. So I'm home alone, me and the dog. So I'm hoping I've done this right. It looks right. I can see your comments, so I know you're there, and hopefully you can hear and see me too. And I'm not just talking to myself, which I do frequently, and I'm more than happy to carry on doing, to be honest. But I'm checking my monitor to see if you can see and hear me. I'm waiting just for a comment. I can see some of you on the chat already. Lovely Steph, Amanda, Fiona, Lisa, Melanie. So some of you are here bang on time, very prompt. Hiya, Julie. You can see me, Lisa. Thank you very much. I thought I'm not going to get halfway through chatting away and then realise nothing is actually broadcasting. So as long as you can see and hear me, that's okay. It feels a bit kind of dark in here this evening, but I've done away with a few of the lights because we're in the middle of a redecorating nightmare saga. It's not a nightmare actually, it's the upheaval really. So this space has become a general dumping ground, so I've taken some of the kit out so that we can kind of put boxes in here when we need to make space for the decorating. So I'm kind of working on a streamlined set of technology today, but hopefully everything, you can see me clearly and you're well. Hello, Karen. Oh, lovely to see you. I was going to say, yes, it's been a glorious, glorious few days, hasn't it? Very distracting when you're trying to get your work done and the sun is blazing outside. So I have kind of, every time I'm turning over a cut on the machines, I kind of creep outside for a bit of sunshine. But it's a bit cooler today, so I have been a bit more productive. And I hope you're all well, because tonight we're going to be releasing our next collection. The fabulous Olga Heldwein has put together a brilliant gamer-inspired collection, which you might have seen already in the newsletter or on Facebook, but I'll talk you through it. And of course, the DT have just knocked it out of the park, as always, with amazing samples. So we'll have a look at those and ooh and ah over them. Hopefully, I'll get a short demo in. And then what I thought I'd do as well. Oh, hi, Carol, lovely. Hi, Heidi. Hi, Nicola. Shannon. It's been a while, hasn't it? Lovely to see you, Shannon. Hope you're well. Roxy. Oh, Diana. Oh, you're all in. You're all in and here to see. So yeah, it's a great collection from Olga. Those of you that know her previous collections will know her style, and this is very much in that signature style. A bit grungy, layered, got a bit of kind of almost, the stamp images have already kind of got that layering done for you, so they're really easy and really effective to use, and some amazing papers as well. So we'll have a look at that. I'm going to try and get a quick demo done, and then I'm recapping because I already said this, didn't I? The thing that I keep meaning to say is what I will do as well is record some more demos. Hopefully they'll go out on Sunday. So as always, I like you to get lots of inspiration in terms of using the products. So we'll do a quick one today. The DT will be sharing their makes, of course, and then I'll record some more demos for you to see over the next few days. But I'm sure you'll have lots of ideas of your own as to how to use this collection because it's just fabulous. Oh, bless you, Lisa. It is a theme or a kind of well, just a subject, isn't it, that I think lots of us have family members, friends, relatives, etc., that we want to make gamer themed cards for, of all ages. I mean, my sons love gaming. I say this, my sons love gaming, but my husband does too. So hopefully we've got the mix right in terms of a bit of retro gamer inspired imagery, but also some really kind of contemporary looking stuff as well. So I'm hoping it's going to work for all ages. They're fabulously vibrant papers, Ali, in terms of the colours, but also some monochromatic ones as well. So it's really interesting. I'll share them share them with you in a second, of course. Now, what do I need to say? I think today, I'll do 2 giveaways, given it's a release, and I always get very excited when there's a release. But what I'll do is I'll do 2 giveaways of £25 credit to spend in store, so that you can pick and choose what it is that you want, and whether or not you want to go with the new products, or whether you want to shop other things that are on the Funky Fossil store. So two credits for £25 will be up for grabs, and I know Ali's in the chat, so she will give me some names by the end of the live, and I will share those with you before we finish. The other thing I meant to mention before I forget is, and I put it on Facebook already, I'll put it in the newsletter tomorrow morning, is I've also, because this is really about celebrating, I don't know how many collections Olga's done for us, it's a fair few, but celebrating a new release, because it's been a while to get something new from Olga. I've put all of her back catalogue, her previous products are on offer at 20% off if you use the code Olga20 at checkout before midnight on Friday. So if you're shopping the Gamer Zone collection, but also you want to have a look back at Dark Alchemy or the Christmas collection, or I think we've got a few of the cats left. We've got some of the Turn It Up collection. If you want to have a look back through other designs that Olga's bought to Funky Fossil, then you'll be able to get that 20% off as well. Not on the new stuff, but it will apply to the older products. So are they all the things that I do need to say? Oh, actually, I've just seen a comment from Karen, which has reminded me. Oh, you're not feeling well, Nat. Oh, well, hopefully we can cheer you up and take your mind off it for a short while at least. Oh, I hope you're not feeling too poorly, lovely. Oh, you see, I've distracted myself again. That's what I was going to say. I always like to be in completely open, full disclosure. So just so that you're aware, we will have another new collection coming out next week. I know. I've kind of ended up crunching a number of collections together in a fairly short period of time, because we've got a family holiday in June, which will mean that there won't be anything for a little while. So I'm trying to bring some stuff forward. So I apologize in advance, because I appreciate gives you dilemmas in terms of budget, etc. But equally, I wanted you to be aware there is something new coming next week. It's a completely different vibe and style, as you can imagine. We don't tend to revisit the same things often. It's kind of got a fashion inspired theme to it. So so next Wednesday, we'll have another collection for you to enjoy and have a look at. But I hate for people to feel if only I'd known something else was coming, I might have held back. So I do want to just make you very much aware of that before we look at this collection. But I can guarantee there's absolutely no overlap. They're very different in style and look. So if you love this one, you're not going to get to next Wednesday and think, oh, actually, I'd have got that instead. You're either going to get this one or you're going to get that one. They're different. Does that make sense? Apologies if it doesn't. You know me, I just like to get the product out there because I get very excited, and I've got amazing samples from the design team for that one as well. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's turn these cameras round and let's have a look at what's on the desk in front of me. Well, I think most of you probably will buy both because they're very different in style. But I just, I try to avoid normally bringing things out in consecutive weeks, because I don't like to put people under pressure with their spending. But as I say, I did want you to know there's one coming. Now, I've got to turn the cameras around. There we go. I've got it. Hi, Selena, lovely. I know, I've just got too many. I've got too many ideas. So you've probably seen, or you may already have seen, the digital image of this collection. It's made up of 3 stamps, an A5, A6 and an A7, an 8x8 paper pad, 3 stencils. And I'm also throwing in with the complete bundle, when you buy the complete bundle as it's put into the shop, I'm also putting a tub of Bright Meadow in for free. Now, the complete collection in the shop is a fabulous deal. I think it's under £50, and I think it shows you in the store, but I think it should be £67, £68, and I've got it down to 50 with this added in on top, because I think this green works brilliantly with some of these kind of cyber images. So I wanted you to be able to have a play with that. So let's start with the stamps. And I'll start with the A5 stamp to begin with. Hopefully not too much glare on the packaging. So obviously, I've already said it's gamer inspired, and being Olga, you've got all of these kind of collage elements, this kind of grungy but all cyber themed, like wires and dots and little plus signs, etc., all kind of that go with this particular theme. So you've got your kind of, is it a Game Boy? I'm never sure, Game Boy or a Nintendo or one of those handheld gamer things anyway. A controller and a real kind of old-fashioned joystick here. And you've got a fantastic, this has really become one of my favourite stamps. It's so funny how that happens. Just a bit of an abstract kind of wiring and circuitry that is great for creating your backgrounds. You've got a definition here which says gamer, a person who has realised that real life is too boring, total dedication, and regularly says 5 more minutes. So I'm sure there's somebody in your household or family that would apply to. Game mode on, so you can see how there's loads in here, and they will all build and extend. So you can kind of extend these focal images with the kind of the chevrons here, with the loading image at the bottom here, the sentiment, etc. It will all expand out. But a key thing to point out as well, because I think this is just an indication of the fact that how good the design is, all of these focal points are complete images. So you can absolutely cut them out, and we've got lots of samples where this has been done, and use them independently, or create a very vibrant background and layer up so your main image is clean. So the fact that you're able to extract this from the background that Olga's already provided for you means you've got that kind of opportunity to do something much more clean and simple if you want to. So there you go, gamer, which is the game mode on, and that's the A5. And then the A6 is, again, classic Olga. So these ones are really kind of much more abstract. It's called cyber grunge, and you can see these are going to really kind of build up the backgrounds. They're going to work with your focal images. They're going to work on their own. Ali's made a gorgeous card just with this element here, because the crosses are a nice strong element to them. But stamp over each other, create a very kind of detailed background. They're really small as well. So again, they're not going to fight with focal point too much. So there you go, 3 good size stamps in the A6. A7 is just a single stamp. Actually, we've had this out before years ago, and it's called Circuitry, and it's a single stamp. So it's got lots of detail and line art in it. So again, will absolutely work with the A5 and A6 elements, or you repeat stamp it and create a big background just of wiring, kind of silver heat emboss it and create really kind of cool background. So it doesn't need to be gamer necessarily. This could be really just an abstract background, but I love the fact it's got that slightly electrical vibe to it. So they're the 3 stamps. Now, I have put those, I'm fairly sure, yes, I definitely have. I put those on the shop as a stamp bundle as well. So if stamping is your thing, and that's the element of the collection that would most appeal to you, you can get the 3 items as a mini bundle with a saving just off those, if that's something that will be helpful to you. Now, let's have a look at these papers. Yes, I know that, and that's the thing, Karen. We create, or Funky Fossil brings you so many different themes and styles. I absolutely get that not everyone's going to want or get all of them, but the chances are there's going to be something that's right up your street. And sometimes actually when you see the samples and you see things made, you realize actually you do, you would be able to incorporate it into your craft stash as well. So these are papers by Olga. Try not to hit, so I'm trying to get these. So you've got some really kind of easy to use backgrounds with these kind of beautiful blues. Oh, hi Belinda, lovely. With the controller and headphone images in black and white. But then we also have pops of colour. She's managed to get an unhealthy amount of purple into this pad. I let it slide. I thought I'll be the bigger person here. Again, back to that circuit board imagery, you get a real kind of glow, that almost neon vibe behind the deep background. This reminds me a little bit of Tron. Do you remember Tron, the film? It was that kind of science fiction style film where everything there's kind of neon everywhere. She says that's helpful for me, wasn't it? And this is what I mean about some monochromatic backgrounds. So we've got 2 of these actually in the pad that look like blueprint designs. So they've kind of got the draft lines. They're in a kind of a dark grey black line art on a cream background. So they look slightly vintage, but they're going to be really cool. You can add colour to the paper or make your focal point very vibrant and have a really muted background, which I just love. Or just go full on, just throw all the colour at it. And you can see here with these, I mean, this, I think it's Kerry's made an amazing sample with this large controller cutout. There are lots of cuttable elements from this pad. So the blueprint paper that I just showed you, again, you could cut out those elements and then they just look like line art. I love this one. It's kind of an ombre, but it's got binary code in it and the kind of the dots and dashes that look like computer screens. And here's a kind of bigger circuit board image in the same colorway. So again, you can see we've got a strong color palette of magentas and rich purples with some yellows and greens in there. But then we do, as say, have these more muted ones. And this is the one I'm meaning where actually these look great if you kind of cut them out and use them as elements in their own right. And it says at the top here, you see United States patent. So that's great for collage papers as well. So yeah, a really cool one. More cartoony style one here, but again in that same color palette with the pinks and blues. So you can, again, gamers, I'd say of all ages, but also kind of all genders as well. Obviously lots of girl gamers out there, and I think this color scheme can play to anybody really in terms of their taste. And then I love this one as well. Almost kind of looks like there's a grid there, muted colours. You've got your space in the centre for your focal point if you want to use it as a single sheet. Really user friendly. And then an abstract one here, which is kind of pulling in the colour. I was just checking that it is the last one. Pulling in the colours from the other designs, but not necessarily specifically gamer in style. Aren't they cool? Really, really, I just love this paper pad. There's just so much you can do with it. And as I say, there's lots. I mean, I talked about the stamps being a bundle in their own right. But again, if you're working on a budget, then this paper pad, to my mind, is a project in its own right, because you do have your blue. Excuse me, I'm going to have some apple juice. I don't know why, so whenever I start talking to you all, you've got these monochromatic pages where you could cut elements out as focal points and use them with the background. So again, there's a lot you can do just with the paper pad in its own right. And then last but not least, I've got 3 stencils that go, I think, that was my logic, that go really well with this theme. Quite abstract. Again, they're going to work for lots of occasions and create quite cool geometric backgrounds for you, regardless of whether or not you're going to combine them with gamer imagery. So we've got one here that's called Digital Rain. This is really user-friendly, this one. You get lots of uses out of this, just for some background texture, really. And the fact the lines are broken means that it's not too dominant in terms of the way it creates a... You always need a new stencil, Dawn. It's law. So yeah, so this one is really helpful in the way that it kind of fades out. So you don't need to fill your background with it, but it adds a great kind of touch of something. And then we've got chevrons, because I think that is the law when it comes to anything gamer related. And I love this again. Very user-friendly, vibrant colours, just a little touch of it in the corners of projects. Again, just add a little bit of interest and texture. And the final one, I can't remember what I called them. I think this one I called Don't Be Cross. And as you can see, it is a page. It's a really simple pattern, but actually, again, really effective. These are it's a bit like the half-tone dots. They're the kind of element which you're just going to add little bits of them to a project just to kind of fill in that background, or just add another layer before you get to your stamping. These work great. So that, yeah, and it's really funny you mentioned the Matrix, Fiona, because the Matrix was one of the things I said to Olga when we were talking about this collection. I said, something has got a bit of a Matrixy vibe as well. So yeah, there's something in it in terms of the circuit boards and the stencils, yeah, and the falling lines from the screen. That has a bit of that going on. So there you go. That's the full collection. Everything, as always, as you know, is available as individual items on the store. So you go and shop or pick the elements that appeal to you. The stamps are available as a mini bundle. The whole collection is available at a mega discount with the Stella Paste thrown in. But of course, the individual items are there as well. So there's lots and lots you can do with this one. I do love this one. And it's just, again, it's just a complete change from our last collection and from the Matisse and the mid-century modern. And it's just, yeah, I just love to keep things moving. So I'm just having to reach down to bring up some amazing samples to share with you. And there's a lot to see here. And I'm going to try and be relatively quick so that we can get a demo in as well. And I don't take up all of your evening, because I will if you give me half a chance. But I do need to walk the dog, because I say Steve's out tonight, so the dog was looking very disapproving at me as I closed the door on him and came in here, because he knows it's his walk time. So let's start with a fantastic Brian fold-out book. You know it's Brian when you open the envelope and there's one of these beauties inside, always beautifully put together as well. So of course he's making full use of the papers in our little gamer fold-out booklet. And look at this. Look at, I mean, we could just leave the camera on that, couldn't we? So he's done exactly what I was saying here, but lots of background stamping using those A6 kind of elements in colours. But he has then cut out the focal elements from the A5 stamp set, so they sit clean on top of that multi-stamped background. And then, of course, all the papers working beautifully together. So it's a fab. It's a full marks from me for Brian the Blade. I don't know if he's in tonight. I'm not sure if I've seen him in the chat. And I think this might be Kerry, our lovely Kerry. Now she's made, I think, Kerry, tell me if I'm wrong or right, but I think this, yeah, I think it is. So I think she's made 2 projects from the same sheet of paper. Am I right, Kerry? You do get 3 of each sheet in the pad, so you don't need to, it doesn't need to be from the same sheet of paper. But the reason I'm saying that is she's cut out the large controller from the papers and then used the circuit board stamp behind that in that flash of silver. So she's almost used it as a silhouette shape out of that kind of busy pattern paper, which is so cool. So this is cut out. It looks really effective. It is really cool. So she may not have used exactly this sheet of paper, but I combined, in my mind, the 2 things went together. So this is the large controller that she cut out from that sheet of paper. And she's made this amazing card. Again, a bit like Brian with the fold-out book, just showcasing how beautifully the papers work together. And then you've got these glossy accents on the controller, which really bring it to life. I mean, it's just going to work so well, isn't it, for birthdays, as she said. This is the card I was talking about from our lovely Ali, where she's kind of done something really clean and simple here. But she's used that stamp from the A6 stamp set as the kind of the repeat stamped it to create that band of stamping, and just the pop of colour in the crosses with just as a strip of the pattern paper. And I think that looks really cool. Really, really effective. So again, graphic and kind of simple. And I think that's probably what I'll do for the videos on Sunday. I'll do a layered make with lots of pattern and elements going on, and I'll do a clean and simple just to kind of show that the same products can be used for both styles. Now, who's this? It's Kerry. So Kerry's used the Digital Rain stencil, that the broken lines, all the way down this DL card, and she's done exactly as I was saying at the beginning. She's layered up the focal images. So although you've got that interest around each of them, the focal images kind of popped up above it, and then lots of the A6 stamping down the sides. Really, really cool. Just great. And this is Kerry. I thought I'd done a shuffle, but you know me, things always seem to come in clusters. So this is a bit more of a muted and grungy one, because we've got the chevrons on one of the Karma papers from the paper pad, and then the Game Boy in the kind of the matching blue. So it's a softer look, but again, lots and lots of visual interest to kind of draw your eye in, because you've got that stenciling and of course always that detail around that focal stamp. This is a genius one from Kerry. I keep needing to check now. She's got, and now we're out of stock of this, so if you haven't got it, I do apologise, but I know lots of you do have this. She's got the cavernous embossing folder and die. So she's used that on the pattern paper, obviously then highlighted the cracks around that explosion. And then this is one of the elements on the paper pad, as I was saying before, that she's cut out, and it's got that emerging. Doesn't that look so cool? I just love that. I really, when I saw that, I just thought, oh yes, that's a great idea. And she's done this as a pocket page for my disc journal. So there are 2 fabulous tags in there as well, in the way that she's kind of put the page together. So it's a really, really clever one. So if you've got the cavernous embossing folder and die, definitely one to think about. And we've got, again, this might be Kerry. Yeah, I've definitely not shuffled these, have I? And I think she's used Raven as the Stella paste on the Don't Be Cross stencil. So it's created a beautiful textured background. And total curiosity, Kerry, she's actually cut out the wire on that joystick image. Whenever I've cut it out, I just remove the wire. I wasn't going to cut that bit, but she's managed it, so it looks amazing. So again, fabulous kind of combination of papers, colours, pattern. I think this is one that I've done where I've again cut out that controller from the 8x8 paper pad. So there's a good size. It makes a really good size focal point. More pattern paper in the background. Don't be cross is the stenciling, and I just then just kind of dissolved or what's the word? You know, when you spray with water, diluted some acrylic inks in the background just to mirror the pink and purple in the paper. And here, and again, because I was cutting out, I was had a cutting out session. I got two of the smaller controllers from that same sheet of paper, and I've created a kind of a very layered card here. So there's no pattern paper on it. You've got some half tone in the silver flash, lots of stamping and a bit of stenciling in the background. But just the fact that these are in kind of a grey tone, they really pop. And then here I am using the Bright Meadow, the green Stella paste, just to show you how fabulous. This is a bit of a matrix one, Fiona. How fabulous that looks on black with a digital rain as the background. And I just stamped the focal images and trimmed them out. So I just used those images as my kind of elements in the corner. So I love that. I do love that green on black and on white. That's what I'm going to use in my demo. This is an Ali special. So she's white heat embossed on black, and she's repeated it 3 times. So you've got a fabulous kind of effect going in on the diagonal on the pattern paper. A bit digital rain, bit of stamping. It looks so effective, doesn't it? That black and white really popping with the vibrant colours behind. Really clever. And this is Ali as well. I can always tell whenever there's anything that looks like a rainbow, Ali's normally involved. So she's used Don't Be Cross and a bit of digital rain. Actually, she's combined the stencils on this background and then our controller. You really don't need to do much. I mean, I'm not saying that this isn't much, but you know what I mean? It's a bit like the clean and simple one that I showed from Ali earlier. Use a stencil, one of the stamps, and you're going to have a really, really striking card. Oh, and she's white heat embossed some of the background, the A6. I'm not sure it's showing it very well there. From the A6, just extra texture. So there's always lots to see in these cards and journal pages. I think this is an Ali one. It is. So a bit like I was saying with Kerry, where there's a kind of a more subdued and grungy one. So she's got lots of stamping going on in the background, all in kind of muted blues and greys. So she's created her own background for this focal image. So it's a really, really cool. So, and that's what I love about those A6 stamps is, of course, I love the pattern papers. They look fabulous. But with the stencils and those A6, you can totally extend your focal points or create your own backgrounds from scratch. Here's our lovely Brian's. I think he's done a couple of tags for me here, using the papers. Again, he's done cutting out to add extra layers on the pattern papers. I love the rich colours on these papers. And then here, so that the imagery stands out against so dark kind of purpley blue one, he's white heat embossed. How effective that looks. Really, really cool. And you can see a range of different sizes of projects here. So if I go to this one from Brian, this is, I think it's an 8x8. So you've got your tags, your smaller cards, and then you've got an 8x8 here where he's used the Don't Be Cross stencil, white heat embossed that, and embedded the focal images from the A5 stamp in there. How cool does that look? So, I mean, he's really transformed that background paper with that stamping and heat embossing over the top. This must be all Brian now, because I've obviously still kept them in their grouping. So he's got lots of layers and texture on this one. He's got the Don't Be Cross stencil in white paste, lots of stamping. So again, there's a couple of examples in the from the DT here, where they've really just effectively created their own background. So this is a circuit board, the A6 elements, all combining beautifully together because the scaling's about the same. You can totally over stamp, and it won't kind of look messy. No one, they play nicely together. That's what I'm trying to say. And I love this. Brian's obviously kind of going through a kind of squares and grids phase in terms of his collaging here. So I love this is when you're looking at vibrant papers and you feel a bit overwhelmed by them, the white heat embossing trick is a great one to ensure that you really kind of lift your focal elements off the surface, or break them down into smaller chunks and then create your own patterns and collage, because the colours will all work beautifully together. That's what the pad's designed to do. So you don't need to have one solid background, just use elements of it, and then it's I think it becomes much less overwhelming in terms of how you might bring it into your project. And then so here's another box one from Brian. And this time he's used almost kind of opposite of the previous one. He's used the imagery in black and white on top of the coloured paper. So again, not the whole image, just cutting out an element of the stamped image makes it really kind of intriguing. Your eye wants to try and work out what's going on there, and then lots of stamping and stenciling in the background. And it must be Brian. It is Brian. Again, I love this. So this one's a bit more muted because the pattern paper in the background is one of the ones with a slightly softer colour scheme, and that enables the stamping and the kind of focal images to stand out from there. So many elements, aren't there? Just, with the loading and the chevrons and the circuitry, it's just, there's so many great touches in the stamps that means you're going to be able to kind of configure your own composition. And here we have an A5 journal page, last but not least from Brian. Again, the imagery in black and white really popping over that background where he's got he's been stamping with the stencils, he's laid up the stamps, but because you've got those kind of nice harmonious colours with the purple, blue and green, so they're all playing nicely, and all these images are all kind of scaled to work nicely together. And it's one of those where you'll look at it for ages and you'll see different stamps when you look around the page. So that is our fabulous Gamer Zone. Now, we did a gaming collection, probably say about 3 years ago. Certainly I don't have any of it in stock anymore, but this is a completely different vibe because Olga's able to really kind of bring us those layered stamp images that I think just make you look really skillful, even though we know the layering is already built into the stamp. So there you go, everyone. I hope you like it. I'm seeing lots of positive comments. I mean, the DT have done a superb job, as always. So I'm hoping that that's something that if it is a theme that you can see yourself working with for occasions or kind of recipients, then definitely worth getting. But obviously it is very much a thematic collection, so it's got to work for you in terms of whether or not gaming is the subject that you would be choosing to craft with. But I hope it is, and I hope you like it, and I hope you're inspired by those samples. I mean, I certainly am when I'm looking through them. I will be taking plenty of inspiration to help me film some further demos with the collection. So remember, everybody, if you kind of comment, and certainly if you can like and share, that always helps me immensely. But if you're in the chat and you're commenting either on Facebook or on YouTube, then obviously we're giving away 2 £25 credits to spend in store this evening. And then let me put together a little demo for you, a short one. It's not a long one. Yeah, just dip your toe in the water, Dawn. Have a go. I mean, there are lots of these elements that I think are going to work outside of gaming theme, the stencils in particular. So I want to have a little play with the Stellar Paste, the Bright Meadow, because if you buy the full collection, that's already thrown in. I've had it on its side, so it's all glued to one side there. A beautiful, beautiful shimmer. But it is a perfect cyber green, I think. And I'm just trying to decide which stencil I'll use it with. Let me use it with our chevron. So I've already got some backgrounds dried that I've used the paste with, so we'll not have to wait for this, but it's nice to see how beautifully it goes through the stencils onto the black. Particularly, I just think it was nice to see a glitter paste on black. So I'm not going to cover the whole of the stencil because, as I say, I've already got it all done and dried. But you know it's a decent paste when it pops against black and doesn't get lost. Now, are you all staying creative at the moment with the sunny weather and the garden proving too much of a distraction? I know the sunny weather isn't to everybody's taste, but the novelty factor of having the sunshine can sometimes mean we're out and about a little bit more. Oops. Absolutely. There we go. My palette knife is coming apart. So how beautiful does that look? It's a really lovely shimmer. And because I mean, you've heard me say this many a time, but because the Stellar Paste is packed with the glitter, then it won't lose any of that vibrancy, even though obviously when it dries, that will still retain its contrast against the black. So, a showstopper card, Shannon. That has got me intrigued. So let me show you the two that I've got to show you on the green and on the black, that once dry, it doesn't move. It's kind of real shed proof. You don't end up with glitter everywhere. It really holds the shimmer, but actually it stays as vibrant as when you put it on. So the showstopper card for a special occasion or a special person. Right, now what was I going to do? Black 6x6 pink frog card. So I'm thinking of my having these blocks. Must have been inspired by our Brian. Having these blocks on here with the focal images. Let me get them out for you. I've already done a bit of stamping and cutting. I like to be prepared. So the joystick, which way? That way. So I'll have that on the black background, and then the controller can go on the white background. So they're going to really pop against the black and the white. But obviously, oops, gee whiz, use some glue, Sarah. But my sense is that's going to be a bit stark. I need to do something in the background to make that look a little bit more interesting visually. So I'm going to use my current favourite stamp. I tell you what as well, what stamp works really well with this collection is the A7 distressed halftone that Belinda put together for us, because a bit like the halftone stencil, it brings in a great kind of slightly grungy element, which works beautifully with the stamps that Olga's created. So what I'm going to do is white heat emboss my kind of abstract circuitry, but obviously I don't want it, I want it to be showing through from behind the block. So I want to try and position it so that we do see some of it, otherwise there's not much point in putting it on, is there? So what do we need? We need the white embossing powder. I'm going to use a rare moment of being organised. I'm going to use my anti-static because it is on black, so that will show pretty much any speckle that goes astray. Oh, hello, Brian. I'm sorry, lovely, if I missed you in the chat earlier. You still got that sciatica, have you? I told you shouldn't have painted that fence. I was thinking about you the other day with the DIY I'm doing. I'm thinking I'm just waiting any second for my back to go. So I'm eyeballing where I think. I mean, obviously, you only want an element of this to kind of show around the stamping. It's not about having the whole stamp on display. This is about background texture, but so I'm hoping that by eyeballing it, we'll see some of it. And I'm going to stamp it again, just tessellate it in another direction. And it probably overlap in the middle, but I don't think that will be visible, so I'm not going to worry too much. So let's add some white embossing powder and see what it is we've managed to achieve. Yeah, it's horrible sciatica, isn't it? Getting old, Brian. You and me both. So look at that. Can you see? So I've got my anti-static bag all the way to this point where I didn't cover it with anti-static, and that's where my fingerprint is. It's a nightmare, isn't it? But at least it has worked. The anti-static bag has worked. Just should have covered the whole card. But fortunately, that's far enough away from our stamping that we can just brush it off. It's just a little demonstration of how useful it is to have anti-static. You sure you're not just pretending you got sciatica so Philippa doesn't make you do any more jobs around the house, Brian? I'm going to put the heat gun on so I don't hear him swearing. Oh, where did I get it, Selena? I think I got it from Amazon, you know. I think it is an EK Success embossing tool brush thing. So I'm fairly sure it's EK Success. I haven't, obviously, there's no branding on it, but it's very useful. And you can open it and refill it. So, I mean, I'm fairly sure it's just got talc in, to be quite honest, but it's quite a nice way of dispensing it, and it doesn't go everywhere, like, you know, with the bags that shed everywhere. How crisp that looks. It's just a lovely fine detail stamp, this one, but it's stamped beautifully there just on the black. I just like it because it's not got too straight a line, so it's one of those where you can tessellate it and create quite a fragmented edge. So let me just double check that I haven't got that positioning completely wrong. Yeah, that way. Let's go that way. Yeah, so that's perfect. So we're going to have bits of it showing already looks better, doesn't it, having a bit of detail? But I still think a little bit more is required. And I thought, what stencil? I could use a chevron. Can't use a chevron, so I'll just use the paste on it. I'm going to use the Digital Rain. I'm going to use it with the fabulous cotton pigment ink from Stamps by Me. It's a lovely, you've seen me use it before, and I'm always extolling its virtues because it's just fabulous. So I've got my blending brush, one that I keep a brush for this and a brush for the embossing ink. They're the two inks that I feel probably you don't want to try using across different ink pads. So I'm not wanting this or not thinking about it being a completely solid background. In fact, I'd rather it was fading out towards the edges. So I'm going to start applying my ink in an area where I know the squares are going to cover it up, just so that as we go out towards the edge, can you see it's starting to fade? It's still there, but it's starting to fade. I'll never line that back up now. Oh, there you go. I'm just going to add a little bit more. And this, I find this one, because it's a pigment ink pad, it's a bit like the embossing ink in that it does drag a little bit more. So just be aware of that when you're using it with a stencil, in that it just pulls against the stencil a little bit more. So make sure you're holding your stencil firmly. This, I think, is just such a versatile stencil. You can see already, just as I'm using it here, and that fabulous card from Kerry where she's got it going the other way, going kind of horizontally. It's very easy to build up a background and quite easy to kind of line it up as well. So I can hear Mr. Oscar being very indignant outside, wondering where his walk is. Last one here. I think it's a nice, there's a nice contrast here between the gloss, the white gloss of the embossed image, and then this slightly softer, chalkier look of the pigment ink. So the embossed image still kind of stays very much at the front because it's got a much higher definition. Don't be swearing, Brian. It's not after the watershed. So, but I love that as a background. Doesn't that look great? I mean, see, you could be stamping this in a much larger area. I'm just wanting to have something that just emerges from behind our blocks. So I think that's going to look cool. So now really the only thing that's kind of colour on the project is just that pop of that kind of cyber green. I should have called it cyber green, shouldn't I, rather than bright meadow? Which way? Put that way. So I won't stick it down. What I will do though is add one of our sentiments from the sticker stack, because I mean the stamp sets are fairly short on sentiments. You've got that brilliant gamer definition and the game mode on, but I think that in my head this wasn't necessarily the kind of collection that wouldn't really needs inspirational sentiments. I thought it's the kind of collection where you're going to be sending kind of birthdays or well done, or those kind of cards to people. So I thought the sticker stack would cover you on that. And then, but I don't want Christmas, obviously. That would be a bit odd. So we could have the best day. Now, do I want it? Yes, I think I do. Sorry, I'm talking loud to myself. So if we put have the best day here, I'm going to go with the white on the black to give it some contrast. And how quick and easy is that? So, so I mean, you can be adding dimension. You can be putting your squares on foam pads. You could be putting your focal images on foam pads on the squares. Give yourself different levels to work with. But hopefully you can see, although there's a lot of patterns going on there, the fact that we've kept it black and white with just one colour means that it's going to, it isn't going to be overwhelming to the eye. So all I'd do is map that onto some white card, and that, my friends, would be a card. In fact, it's my youngest's birthday in July, so it could be his card, because I'm fairly confident he won't be watching. So, oh, look, here's one I made already. This is the one I made before. So I used the Game Boy, but I added a bit of Twisted Citron to the screen just to pull it in with the green. So say really, really easy. I think, yeah, slightly different backgrounds, but the same elements to make the card. Hello, Vanessa. Hope you're okay, lovely. Right, I'm turning the camera back around and hoping that Ali, being super organised as always, will have sent me the winner. And there. Right, so I have two winners. It's £25 credit to spend in store. And those two winners are the lovely Shannon Hornback on YouTube and Kim Robertson on Facebook. So congratulations both. I think I can message both of you, but if in doubt, if you can either message me and I will send you a code to use, or email me. But we'll get in touch and I'll make sure you get a code to give you £25 credit to spend in store. So congratulations to the both of you. And thank you everybody for tuning in and watching and hopefully enjoying Gamerzone. I think Olga's done an amazing job. I think this is a great partner collection to Turn It Up, which was the music themed one we did last year with the kind of cassette tapes and the records, etc. She's very much brought that whole kind of concept into the world of gaming, and I think I can think of just so many people and occasions that I'm going to be able to use this for. Papers, stamps, stencils. It's not a massive collection, and certainly I've tried to do the full collection at a really affordable price for those of you that want it all. So thank you everybody. Yes, to help me with the algorithm, please do like and do share. And enjoy the rest of your evening, everybody. I'm going to have to go because the dog is actually now crying outside the door. Bless him. I hope the rest of your week goes fantastic. I will have some inspiration videos for you using this collection on Sunday. And then next week, I can't wait to share what we've got in store for you next week. You're going to love that one too. So my bad. Sorry about that. But enjoy the rest of your week until next Wednesday, and I shall see you then. Bye for now.